Hi, welcome to day 30 of Getting to Know Yourself. I just thought this was so cute. I saw this posted somewhere. Your mind, your thoughts say, I'm worried. Your heart says, just relax. Your mind says, but I'm totally lost now. Your heart says, just follow me. Your mind says, but you've never been there before. Your heart says, trust me, you'll love it. Your soul says, if you two would just be quiet, I'd show you the map. That's what we're getting to here in accessing the inner self. Rav Schwartz says there's two opposite faculties in us. There's the faculty of aloneness, the faculty of uniting. And we spoke about balancing those two yesterday. And you need to inwardly possess the world of alone and also be able to conversely possess and access the world of connection and then learn to balance the two of them. What Rav Schwartz says then is true giving exists only when the inner eye is exposed. When your true self, who you really are, your soul, is exposed, that's where the giving comes from. That's where true giving comes from. When one's inner wealth increases, so does his ability to give to others. The more she is aware of her inner self, the better equipped she is to really help others. Only once a person has uncovered the self will her inner work stem from that real self within, which is what we've been talking about the past 30 days. The soul's merging with others can only truly exist after the true I, the soul, is fully exposed. Then she will be able to join with another based on the awareness of the real inner self. He says the physical method of exposing who you really are is first to have some quiet in a day, to be able to sit with that quiet. I spoke about how I love that quiet. And to just sit in quiet and be able to contemplate who you are, experience yourself a little bit. If you ask a person a question that requires an answer, she might answer immediately. Now, when a person begins to come to that quiet spot and be able to access it, if it's a hard question, not a question like what time is it, but if it's a difficult question that takes concentration, then a person will be able to determine that, oh, I don't have to react and just respond. I can pause, listen to my inner wisdom from my soul, and then answer from that space. So physically finding times of peace and quiet. And then he says the deeper method of revealing the self is to go inward, thoughtful, contemplative, and analytical. When you live with this, then you will be able to enter a deeper part of yourself. One name of the neshama, Rav Schwartz says, mentioned in the Sfarim HaKadoshim, is called the seichel, the intellect. This has nothing to do with the meaning of the word that we use in everyday language. It refers to an inner spiritual seichel, intellect. The neshama is an entity that delves into truths. The farther one is from analysis, contemplation, and thought, the more he will tend to engage in bodily activities. Even if they are good, such as giving to others, he will not be uncovering his or her real self. To reveal the self, one must first isolate herself at certain times from the crowd. She must also develop the habit of contemplation throughout life. So he says here, one must become a thinker, but not a thinker where you're attached to your thoughts and attached to the way you think and attached to how intelligent you are and identifying with that, but a thinker that comes from a space of quiet. And when you come from a space of quiet and then see what thoughts come from that space, and remember we use that chaya to have the awareness, the chaya layer of our soul, then a person will get used to seeing things from their proper perspective. In order to be able to do this, she must take a subject and try to analyze it on as many different levels as possible. So I told you a few days ago when I was speaking to somebody who I wasn't sure that I could trust this person because past events showed me perhaps not. Then what I knew is I had to change what words I would say and what information I can share with this person based on what I wasn't, where we were in a relationship. And in the past, perhaps I would have been unconscious of all of these dynamics happening, and I would have just either not picked up the phone to not deal with it, or share too much. But when we have conscious existence and we're able to know what we're about to say and know why we're going to say it and know who we're speaking to and who we are, then we can really meet any situation and with Hashem's help, bring it to fruition in the way that it needs to be brought and elevate it. And he says here on page 171, if a person stops and thinks, she can uncover hidden truths and be amazed that she didn't notice them before. But it's not surprising. At first glance, a person cannot attain full knowledge, but only the facts that float on the surface. If we're always satisfied with surface information, like external information, we could live our whole life that way. It's becoming conscious and looking inward and starting to listen inward that we begin to get this depth and this ability to have conscious action, thought, feelings. And he says it again here, only a person who breaks down an event into all its parts and considers each one can begin to uncover her power of thought within. When she uncovers it, she will begin to enter inward. So it's this idea of thought within. Okay, Emir Hashem, we'll have more on this tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening.